Welcome to part 3 of our Visibility Vortex Challenge. Today we're going to be diving deeper into action, and this is really the key piece that allows your meaningful work to start to become more visible. So today we're really going to be diving into leadership and the role that your choices make. We can sit there and have all these choices, but we need to decide and act on those choices for anything to tangibly become more concrete. So today, action is the bridge between your purpose and your legacy. So we started out with anchoring at our heart. Then we dove deeper into alignment. And then today we're going to discuss more around action. And what I'm sharing here is we get to look at this as an ongoing compass, as it's not something that we do just one time when it comes to bringing something forward, specifically when it comes to our work. There's going to be different seasons where you're going to pivot and adjust, and we're going to need to anchor with that vision, and we're going to need to align with ourselves. And then once we come into a state of alignment, that's when we can start to take action. Because we can take action that doesn't always bring us closer to the outcomes that we desire. We can take actions that can actually deter us from our path. So making sure that we're anchoring and we're aligning and then we're acting are very key pieces to continuing to let your heart set the direction on your path, most importantly. So I'm going to pull up our slides for today, and we're going to dive deeper into this piece here. All right, here we go. Are we ready to dive deep into action? It's like the only thing that makes things tangible. We can have a great idea, but this is when an idea becomes a lived experience and it becomes our reality. And our body is the vehicle to all actions that we take. So stage 3 of becoming is act. Stage 1 sets the foundation. Stage 2 allows you to get clear in the direction that you're heading. And then stage 3 allows you to bring it forward. And it's the very thing that creates the evidence of those outcomes. Nothing can happen without taking action. Your impact requires you to act on it in order for you to create an impact of change. And the way that we live our legacy is it requires consistency. We are always met every single day with a series of choices and decisions. Whether you choose to make that post, send that newsletter, have that conversation, go to that networking event, immerse yourself in that course or training, every day we have a choice to decide what's life-giving to the movement that we're building. And this is how we create legacy. It's through daily, mundane, ordinary actions that are repeated over time. And it's the very thing that creates the compound effect in your life. It's a thing that allows the seed to take deeper roots. Your actions fertilize the soil so that what you're creating can bloom and bud in your life. So the role of action is about participating, not preparing. Readiness is a choice, and then we have to act on our choices. So to live your legacy, it requires your participation, not just talking about it, but actually being about it and letting your body be the bridge that walks you through that process. And as we take one step at a time, we embark upon the progress of those outcomes. So I wanted to share here visuals and just sharing more on why action changes everything. We can wait and wait and wait and wait. There's people that do that, waiting until we feel ready. However, the only way that we get ready is by taking the step, and we figure it out as we go. We build confidence through following through on our word and showing up. And the confidence builds when we prove to ourselves what we can do. We're not seeking the approval outside of ourselves. And through showing up with our decisions, we build trust in ourselves, and that's how confidence is built. The more that we follow through, the more trust that we build in being able to really honor our word. And when it comes to your work in the world, it's going to require you to choose to go first, wash, rinse, repeat again and again and again, and to continue to go first in your journey so that you can create a movement for others to also take that path with you. So you must be able to influence yourself to take actions. So simply just a result of you taking actions, the natural byproduct of that is influencing others through authentically showing up to also go on the journey with you. Your movement has a very specific why you care about what you care about. And this is where you will walk this path with aligned individuals who have those shared values and also desire to go on the same journey that you're going on when it comes to the transformation, the message, the vision that you're bringing into the world. So action creates trust. The more that you follow through on your word, the more that you strengthen trust within yourself. Trust doesn't require you to be perfect. Trust allows you to surrender, you'll figure it out as you go, and you build character along the way. There's an opportunity in every decision that we make. So as we start to make decisions and we build that confidence and we choose to be ready because it's a choice, you become more resilient. You will face discomfort. There will be challenges along the way. It's not a linear path. However, this is how you expand and you become a more resilient, bold version of yourself. And ultimately, that's what your leadership is going to require of you, to be solution focused, to be able to embrace the art of redirection. And you let your heart set the direction. Don't let your mind dictate your decisions. Let your heart decide your decisions. And this is how your leadership is rooted in this foundation of self-love and radical ownership with what you're here to create. So we don't create outcomes by thinking about it. We create outcomes by acting upon it. And it's important that we don't carry our vision alone. We multiply what it is that we're here to create along the side of others. There's a reason why you were given a big vision. It's going to stretch your capacity. And we need to walk along the side of other individuals to remind us of what also is possible. Because if we only stay with our inner circle, and our family and our friends are amazing, we love them, and not everybody has the same big, bold vision that certain leaders do have in this lifetime. And whatever path people are on is the path that they get to go on. I remember when I've sat in rooms where people are selling $100,000 offerings, $20,000 masterminds. It sounded mind blowing to me. But then I got to start to witness people who also had big visions where calling in 50K a month doesn't sound ludicrous because I grew up in a very specific way where I saw certain circumstances and environments of having to work hard just to make ends meet, that it sounded crazy to me to call in 20, 50K months. So when we are surrounding ourselves with other visionaries, other change makers, people who are carrying a big vision on their heart, this also stretches you to grow and widen your capacity to become that version of you. We don't create from a space of needing external validation and reassurance. It gets to come from within you, that stirring, that knocking on your heart. There's a reason why it's there. And when we do this with others, this is where we can carry the responsibility of what it is that we're bringing forward in a lighter way and not needing to figure it out all on our own. Think about when someone's building a house. It's not just one person building a house. It's a crew of people. We're meant to thrive in community, and a lot of times we carry our vision alone in isolation. And this is where it can start to carry a lot of weight on our shoulders. We can gain a lot just through the presence of others and the unique medicine that they bring, the questions they bring, the perspective they bring, the inspiration that they bring, so that you don't always need to source the fuel from yourself and that we can be carried by others. We've never learned how to do anything alone in our life. Walk, eat, talk, go to the bathroom. We all have learned with others. So when it comes to bringing your legacy forward, bringing your vision forward, it's something that we get to do along the side of other people. It's not something that you need to carry all on your own. Entrepreneurship does not need to be a lonely journey. You can actually use less mental effort when you walk along the side of others, and then you can start to make decisions that are most authentic for your own journey and move forward from there. I have found that there's been a huge compound effect in me putting myself in the right places and spaces and surrounding myself by the right people. That I don't always need to source the inspiration from within myself, and that I can drink it in community, because courage and inspiration is contagious. When I see someone else in their joy, when I see someone else showing up in their purpose, it reminds me of what's also possible for me too, because it's a long journey, it's a long road. I make the decision to choose my expansion, and I choose to expand along the side of others who are also taking this role of leadership in their life, so that I don't have to source all the wisdom and insight for myself all the time, so that I can continue to take the action, to take one step at a time, to not get stuck in the overthinking loop, to not get stuck in the decision fatigue, to not get stuck in being narrow minded and only seeing things in the way that I can see them through my own perspective. There are an infinite amount of paths that action is going to ask of you. And it's nice to be able to come to a fountain, to drink from it, and to be hydrated from others who are choosing to thrive versus survive in life. Because we can act from survival programming, or we can act from program of thriving, right? So we can either act from more fear-based programs or more heart-based programs. We can take actions from being embodied, or we can take actions from being more in the mind and controlling. So it is helpful to surround ourselves by other people who are about raising the standard in their life. So it's not this like wild dream, and it actually is a possibility. It's just something that you've got to take responsibility for. The 1% isn't someone that you see everywhere you go. If you're the 1%, you most likely are the one where they're like, oh gosh, there you are with that big crazy idea again. So we need to surround ourselves by other people that have big wild ideas too. And there's a compound effect of our choices. The compound effect, it might not happen tomorrow, but if you keep making choices and you keep choosing to live in a way that reflects multiplying the path of your heart, which the heart is courageous, it's bold, it's willing to double down, to do the thing that feels risky and edgy. The mind likes comfort, so it feels really uncomfortable to lean into the risk, but the heart doesn't need safety nets. The mind likes safety nets. But there's a compound effect that happens when you continuously make courageous action in your life. And the only way that we can take courageous action is we have to live new experiences. This is where we form a new identity by choosing to be living in a new way. The way that we tap into a vast sea of possibility, and the way that we really go on this path of becoming, is we must be in our truth. And not everything we think and feel is a fact, right? So really learning how to discern this heart coherent way of communicating with ourselves, so that we can make the choices that allow us to live our truth and bring forward new experiences in our life. And that will allow us to develop the greater trust that'll allow us to build a new identity of what we can and will do and we are capable of. Because bringing forward work in the world that really reflects the tenderness of your heart is vulnerable. You don't have anybody to look to compare their path to your path. Your path is going to look like your path, which means owning your zone of genius is scary. Especially like for me, I was bullied a lot when I was younger. So being myself, there was something wrong with that. That wasn't acceptable. Now, everybody has to understand why we feel how we feel. We can't bypass the narrative of the mind, and that we've got to take ownership for it so that we can flip the script and instead start to let our heart write the script in our life. So that's the thing that puts unstoppable momentum into place. And that we can form a new identity with ourselves and ultimately form a secure relationship with ourselves in life. This is how you build a life that's meaningful and impactful and is fulfilling to you. What's fulfilling to you, me, and anyone else in this space right now is going to be unique and different. We could ask 100 people what's fulfilling to them, and nobody's going to have the same answer. So this is where you get to go on that identity shift of owning your zone of genius and letting your freak flag wave high. Be weird, be different. That's where life is a whole lot more colorful and fun anyway. And the more that you continue to make those choices and decisions, it creates a bigger ripple and life can start to respond to your decisions that you're making. So when it comes to your choices, you must allow your heart to determine the direction. And then we take consistent actions over time, and this creates momentum. And this is the thing that determines the outcome of your legacy. So when you're going on a heart quest path, it doesn't just stop at 1 mile marker. It's a journey, and you're going to be stretched to weather what comes your way so that you can move towards those outcomes and continue to evolve. As you evolve, as your business evolves, your vision will continue to evolve. Your vision will get more refined. The way that you make your decisions will become more sophisticated. Think about being a business owner in year 1 versus 3, 5, 10. Think about just being a 1-year-old, 3, 5, 10. How much more have you learned and grew from the time you were 1 to the time you were 10 years old? The same thing's going to happen with your movement as well. So you're never pigeonholed in you need to be the same version of you for the rest of your life. And the more that you expand in your path, your movement is also going to require a more expanded version of what you're holding to. So legacy is not built through intensity. It's not all or nothing. Go, 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 go. Just running around, making it happen. It's built through aligned choices that are repeated over time. So we've got to have patience. There gets to be grace, to surrender, to really care about the journey, to really water the garden, to really pluck the weeds out of the garden, to really take the time to smell the flowers. Like we get to be with the process of what you're building, to savor it, to really take it in. This is how you can land into the wisdom of your experience. And this ultimately is going to allow you to deepen into your leadership. It'll allow you to take deeper roots into what you're creating. If you create from flight, fight, go, 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 and just washing over and just being surface based with what you're creating, it's never going to take deep roots. So you create from care, you create from patience, you give yourself the space and the compassion to allow yourself to experience what you get to experience. There's going to be seasons of comfort, there's going to be seasons of discomfort, there's going to be seasons of clarity, there's going to be seasons of uncertainty. And you get to learn how to embrace getting familiar with all of it so that you can stay consistent, so you can continue to make bold decisions, so you can have those conversations with yourself and others. So your legacy isn't just about you. It's about you and who and what you're serving. So you get to talk about that. You get to have those conversations. You get to build those relationships. And relationships are built over time. Some of them stay with you for a lifetime. Some of them stay with you for a season. But everything has a reason behind it. So you get to continue to honor every opportunity that you say yes to. And it's up to you to choose to retrieve the golden nugget out of every experience along the way. And to not shut down because you had one difficult chapter in the journey. And you can choose the triumph over the traumatic experience and instead keep the promise to yourself and that calling on your heart. And this is where you really get to be in the highest service of what you're creating. There's been plenty of times where I've been through difficult situations. If I would give my power away to something outside of me, I would have just thrown in the towel by now. But if you're committed to the journey and there's this level of devotion in what you're creating, you're not going to be willing to throw in the towel. You're going to know the difference between when to pivot and adjust, but you're not willing to quit on this vision. Who you're here to serve gets to matter more than the temporary discomforts of the emotional states that we go through. To see the bigger vision and to make it more than just about yourself is going to be the thing that's going to act as fuel to keep accelerating the journey. This is how you build a legacy. When you choose purpose over comfort. So, one of the greatest things that you'll ever attract isn't success. It's the opportunity to become someone whose life becomes a blessing to others. What you've been through, that origin story, that deep why you're here to bring forward what you're here to bring forward, this is how you can take pain and bring it into purpose, and you can create change in a way that ripples far beyond yourself. This is why I genuinely believe that there's a moment in time where self-love ends up becoming selfless service. There's an opportunity through your lived experience that you can bring forward wisdom that has the ability to impact and change lives, community, whatever it is that cause on your heart that just really ignites you. You get to really go all in on that. There's a gift inside everybody. There's a treasure that lives inside everybody's heart. And your heart gets to be the very thing that guides you on your path. And we've got to go deep beneath the surface so that we don't give our power away to limiting ourselves for the need for instant gratification and validation. And there's a level of approval and acceptance that you source from within you where you know that there's something that you're meant to carry and bring forward for generations to come. And when you have that level of conviction in why you're choosing to create what you're creating, you're willing to go through this series of discomfort. You're ready to go through the different layers of courage that comes with making decisions to stay on your path and to not drift away, to not lose sight. It requires devotion because we're all here to pioneer change. And it starts with you changing your own life. And in that, you discover your passion, you remember your why, you rediscover your joy, and then you get to pay that forward. That love gets to overflow from you, and it gets to be one of the biggest contributions that you can give back to life. It's so refreshing when you meet someone who's just like in their passion, in their purpose, in their joy, and you get to be that permission slip for others. So I want to invite you into the next 24 hours to continue to take action steps to build your legacy. The only way that you're going to move your work forward in the world is to take courageous action, not just talking about it, being about it. Talking about it is important because what our words do is they do put things into motion for things to come into existence. But you ever meet the person that's just filled with great ideas, but then they're never really doing anything with it? So we don't want to just be filled with great ideas that don't go anywhere. You need to water the seed with your actions. So I'm going to give some options here because everyone's at a different place in their journey. And I'm not about teaching in a way where it's do this one thing and it's a one size fits all experience. You know in your heart where you feel pulled to these different options, and you get to call yourself into action most importantly. And don't pick the option that feels the safest for you either. Pick the option that feels the edgiest for you because that's where your seat of greatness also is. If you've been sitting on an offer, it's time to start to invite people into the offer. Make a post, text someone, create a conversion event, However you feel inspired to birth this offer into the world, put it out there. You can't change people's lives keeping it in your head. You got to get it out of the head so that your heart can be the thing that attracts the people that you're meant to support. Don't be selfish with your work. Share it. Be selfless with it. It's going to change lives. So you get to be more excited about that than the emotions that come up in being seen in your work. And everyone has a different relationship with selling. So this is an opportunity to start to get over that hump, because at the end of the day, transformation requires a transaction. There are moments of where I can source some great inspiration that didn't require a transaction, but my biggest change has came through investing in others, right? Whether it was through education, whether it was through my healing, whether it was through personal development or business development, like there was a level of exchange of energy. And we live in a world now where the exchange of energy is money, right? So we get to be in right relationship with currency, and we get to see that what we're sharing brings joy, brings change, brings growth, brings a ripple of positive impact. So money is not a bad thing to exchange. I mean, maybe there's some things that you can barter in life, but we live in the modern world, and if we want to play this game here, it does require some money. So launch the offer into the world. Don't feel weird about selling something, and put yourself out there. You deserve to thrive in what you're creating, and what you're creating is also creating a pathway for other people to thrive. So it gets to be a mutual exchange of energy where it benefits everybody. It's not just personal gain for you, and then they don't take anything away, right? You need to make sure that what you're offering, there's integrity, there's a level of deep embodiment, because it does matter. Offer things that are actually going to impact people. Then you won't feel so icky about selling if selling is an uncomfortable conversation for you. If you're not fully clear in an offering yet, sit down and think about things that you have learned, perspective, wisdom gained, maybe something you've overcome, and make a post about it. So you can share something in a more educational, more informative way. Maybe you put together an intro class, and this can be a great way to start to see what your current audience is even interested in before you even create an offering. You can survey your people. Maybe there's 3 or 5 things that you drop into on, like, oh yeah, these have been big, mile marker moments of my life where, there's just like certain wisdom that just kind of just keeps living on, where you kind of pulse back to it again and again. I had a friend 10 years ago share with me on, like, yeah, like your success isn't determined by your outcomes. It's determined just by you taking one step at a time. You already are a success. And that was such a huge catalyst to me not being tied to needing external validation, and that I can just keep showing up even in the mess and know that I'm enough no matter what. Right. So just a little simple, like easy example of something that I learned through a conversation. You know how powerful conversations are? So if you haven't been having conversations up to this point, it's ready to start to embrace conversations and the gift of storytelling, and also listening to other people telling their stories. So you can create a survey on social media and see what are people interested in. And then you can put together an intro class, just like how I'm sharing an experience with you all here. And you can start to connect with people where there's that emotional resonance, and you guys can start to build that sense of community and connection with each other through sharing your story. You create an opportunity to relate and connect with each other. Or you can choose to say no to something that distracts you from our mission, because we can be really good at that, feeling like we're being productive, but it's actually not life-giving. So if there are things where you get to pluck the weeds out of the garden, take that action, say no, so that you can say yes to more of what really is in service to you. No's can be an edge, but no's mean new outcomes. And this is a really powerful way to start to dance with giving yourself some healthy boundaries, so that you have the space emotionally, energetically, mentally, and physically to focus on what really matters and what actually is going to move your mission forward. Your actions are the very thing that put your skin in the game. It's one thing to talk about something, it's a whole other level of investment in yourself when you actually act on it. And in order to bring your legacy forward, you got to put skin in the game. So wherever you get to take action over this next week, put yourself out there and do the thing that feels scary, because I bet it's also the thing that's also really exciting too. So let's not confuse those nerves as if something is wrong. And let's remember the joy and the truth of what really is on the other side of those nerves, most importantly. When we meet with our next session, so I know some of us are in the full immersion. I know some of us opted in for the 3. If you want to choose to join in for the final session, we're going to dive deeper into the last phase of becoming, attract. When we anchor, align, act, what is the result of that? Right? We attract the outcomes. So we're going to dive deeper into this final stage of transformation. And we're constantly, like, this is a compass. It's not a linear path. We're constantly needing to come back to our heart. Every day, that alone is a choice and a decision. And we get to create and make aligned choices and courageous actions from there and to stay consistent on our path. So I'm going to share more around attracting opportunities, relationships, abundance, and impact on that last session. So I'm going to drop a link here. If you want to join for that final one, fill out this application and it will give you access to that final session. Also, I dropped in and I was like, anyone who fills out, those of you who are already in for that, for the full sessions, also, if you fill out this application, everyone's going to have the opportunity to get a 30-minute intro session with me. And in that session, I'm also going to be doing a free giveaway where we'll do an audit on your business too. So whether you want to do an audit on your website, whether you want to do an audit on your business plan strategy, we'll be able to look at where you currently are, because I know everybody's in a different stage of their entrepreneur journey. And we'll be able to do an audit specific to where you are in your entrepreneurship journey. So it'll probably take about 15, 20 minutes to fill out the application. I put together a series of 10 questions to really help you connect more deeply to your desires, to your vision, where you're desiring growth, where you want to expand in your leadership, what would even be supportive and helpful to you expanding in your leadership. So just know that that application is really there for you to start to deepen more into the impact of what you're creating in your life. But I am going to be doing a fun audit. So if you do want to take advantage of that, feel free to fill it out. And then at the end of the final session, when we meet Friday, I'm also going to be sharing an invitation for you to join me in Fiercely Fulfilled. And everything that we've been sharing here will be deepening into this over a 1-year time period with my business development program. And you'll be able to be in a community surrounded by other leaders, also getting your leadership poured into. And I love nothing more than supporting people in scaling and leveraging their business, whether it's in the realm of community building, clarifying your offer suite, putting events out there, or just simply wanting to be in a part of an ecosystem of other leaders that are committed to their path. There's just so many different benefits in being in the Fiercely Fulfilled program. So please do take the time to fill that out within the next 48 hours so that you can get access to that link. And I do know some of you already are signed up for part 4, but if you want to get access to that free audit, you'll want to make sure that you also fill out that application. And that's just a fun giveaway that I'm going to be giving to everybody who does fill that out. Whether you make a decision to do the Fiercely Fulfilled program or not, you guys will still be getting a fun giveaway just for taking the time to filling out that application. So that's what I want to share here today. It's always a joy to gather with other heart-led, passionate individuals. So thank you for taking this journey these last few days. If you feel that you are complete after these 3 sessions, know that I'm always grateful to walk along the side of others in community, and however our paths reconnect again, I look forward to that, and if you're feeling the call to want to go one step deeper, well, you know what the invitation is for that.